What if I told you that a single athlete could be more powerful than a politician, capable of sparking revolutions and transforming entire nations? Get ready to discover the untold stories of sports heroes whose impact reached far beyond the stadium, inspiring change that reshaped their countries forever. We celebrate athletes for their incredible feats of strength, speed, and skill. We give them medals, trophies, and our unending admiration. But what happens when their influence breaks free from the confines of the arena? What happens when their victory becomes a nation's victory? Not just in sport, but in life. These aren't just sports stories. They're tales of national transformation, where one person became a symbol of hope, a catalyst for change, and a voice for the voiceless. From the boxing rings of the Philippines to the soccer pitches of Africa and the cricket fields of South Asia, we're about to explore the journeys of 7 athletes who didn't just win games, they changed the world. Let's start with a name everyone knows, Jackie Robinson. When he stepped onto Ebbets Field in 1947, he wasn't just playing baseball. He was challenging over half a century of racial segregation in America's favorite pastime. Every single hit, every stolen base, was a defiant act against a system of oppression. Robinson endured unimaginable abuse, from racial slurs shouted from the stands to threats against his family. Yet, he responded with quiet dignity and unparalleled talent. His courage didn't just integrate baseball. It was a pivotal moment in the American civil rights movement. He showed millions that talent has no color and paved the way for future generations to demand equality, not just on the field, but in every part of society. He became an unlikely activist, his bat and glove becoming tools for social justice. Now, let's travel across the globe to South Africa, a nation once crippled by the brutal system of apartheid. Here, a rugby player named Francois Pienaar became an instrument of unity. When Nelson Mandela was released from prison and became president, he saw the 1995 Rugby World Cup, hosted in South Africa, as a unique opportunity. Rugby was historically the sport of the white Afrikaner minority, despised by the black majority, but Mandela embraced it. He famously met with Pienaar, the captain of the Springboks team, and asked for his help in uniting the nation. Pienaar and his team didn't just play for a trophy. They played for a new, unified South Africa. Their improbable victory, with Mandela proudly wearing the Springbok jersey, was a moment of pure magic. It was a symbol that the Rainbow Nation was possible, that former enemies could cheer for the same team, for the same future. It was more than a game. It was a masterclass in reconciliation. From the rugby pitch to the soccer field, let's talk about Didier Drogba. In 2005, his home country, Ivory Coast, was being torn apart by a brutal civil war. The nation was divided. But on the football pitch, the national team, the Elephants, was a symbol of unity, with players from all regions and ethnic groups. After qualifying for their first ever World Cup, Drogba, the team's captain and a global superstar, did something extraordinary. Live on national television, surrounded by his teammates, he dropped to his knees and begged his countrymen to lay down their arms. People of Ivory Coast, he pleaded, from the north, south, center, and west, we proved today that all Ivorians can coexist and play together with a shared aim to qualify for the World Cup. Forgive, forgive, forgive. His words had a power that politicians lacked. A ceasefire was called shortly after. Drogba's plea is one of the most direct examples of an athlete's influence halting a conflict, proving that sometimes the most powerful voice doesn't come from a state house, but from the heart of a champion. Let's pivot to the world of tennis and the story of Billie Jean King. In the 1970s, women's sports were treated as a sideshow. Female athletes were paid a fraction of what their male counterparts earned and were constantly dismissed. King decided she'd had enough. She became a fierce advocate for equal pay and respect. This crusade culminated in the legendary 1973 Battle of the Sexes match against Bobby Riggs, a former champion who claimed women's tennis was inferior. The match was a cultural spectacle watched by 90 million people worldwide. When King beat Riggs, she didn't just win a tennis match. She struck a monumental blow for women's rights everywhere. She proved that women could compete at the highest level and deserved to be taken seriously. Her victory energized the women's liberation movement and inspired countless girls to pick up a racket, a basketball, or a dream, knowing they didn't have to accept second place. Now, consider the story of Siya Kolisi in South Africa, a story that feels like a direct legacy of what Mandela and Pienaar started. Kolisi grew up in a poor township, watching the 1995 World Cup on a tavern television because his family didn't own one. In 2018, he was named the first ever black captain of the Springboks in its 126-year history. This was a seismic moment for a sport still struggling to shed its past. When he led South Africa to victory in the 2019 Rugby World Cup, the image of him hoisting the trophy was more than just a sporting triumph. It was a powerful symbol of transformation. A man from a background of poverty and disadvantage had risen to lead a nation, embodying the hope that South Africa could truly be a country of opportunity for all. Kolisi's journey from the township to world champion represents the new South Africa in a way no politician ever could. Let's head to Asia, to the Philippines, where one man's fists can bring an entire nation to a standstill. That man is Manny Pacquiao. Growing up in extreme poverty, Pacquiao turned to boxing to feed his family. His journey from a street kid to an 8-division world champion is the ultimate rags to riches story, but his impact is far deeper. When Pacquiao fights, the country stops, crime rates plummet. Even warring factions reportedly call temporary truces. He's more than a boxer. He's a national symbol of resilience, hope, and the possibility of overcoming any obstacle. He gives millions of impoverished Filipinos the belief that they too can fight their way to a better life. His influence became so profound that he was elected as a senator, taking his fight from the ring to the political arena, aiming to bring tangible change to the people who see him as their hero. Finally, we look at the life of Muhammad Ali. Originally Cassius Clay, his transformation into Muhammad Ali was about so much more than a name change. He was a champion in the ring, but his greatest fights were for his principles outside of it. His conversion to Islam and his refusal to be drafted into the Vietnam War made him one of the most controversial figures in America. He was stripped of his heavyweight title and faced prison time. He said, "I ain't got no quarrel with them Viet Cong." With that simple sentence, he challenged the establishment and gave a powerful voice to the anti-war movement. He sacrificed the prime years of his career for his beliefs. Ali used his global platform to advocate for racial justice and religious freedom, becoming a symbol of black pride and defiance around the world. His legacy isn't just about being the greatest boxer. It's about being a courageous humanitarian who reshaped conversations about race, war, and religion. From Jackie Robinson breaking color barriers to Siya Kolisi embodying a new nation, these athletes show us that greatness is measured by more than just wins and losses. Their stories are a testament to the power of sport as a force for good. They faced resistance, sacrificed their careers, and stood tall for what they believed in, using their platforms to amplify the voices of the marginalized and inspire movements that rippled through society. Their legacies endure not just in record books, but in the civil rights, social progress, and national identities they helped to shape. They remind us that one person, armed with courage and a platform, can indeed change the world. Thanks for watching. If these stories inspired you, hit that like button and subscribe for more content about the hidden histories that shape our world.